Recent days, leaks emerging from the corridors of British royal power have set international media ablaze. Following a high-profile search linked to Prince Andrew, investigators reportedly seized a trove of electronic devices and personal records that could expose long-dormant networks among the global ultra-wealthy elite. What has stunned many is the sudden reappearance of Meghan Markle's name amid the frenzy of online speculation. Old photos of the Duchess of Sussex from years past are being relentlessly resurfaced and scrutinized by social media users. Images from lavish parties, luxury yachts, and high society events tied to the billionaire crowd are circulating at breakneck speed. Meanwhile, Prince William, known for his staunch defense of the monarchy's reputation, is said to be taking an especially firm stance against any development that could further tarnish the royal institution's image. Meghan has remained silent so far, as tensions appear to ripple across both sides of the Atlantic. Is there something from her pre-royal years that Meghan has kept hidden? And is William simply safeguarding the crown? Or is he prepared to deliver a decisive blow against the woman he has never fully embraced? In the biting February chill of London, an old shadow suddenly crashed over Buckingham Palace, carrying the frost of verdicts and collapse. News that Prince Andrew, the long-estranged son of the late Queen, had been formally arrested sent shockwaves through the media unlike anything before. Yet, what truly set the upper echelons trembling was not the handcuffs themselves, but the convoy of investigation trucks rumbling toward his residences. The search of Andrew's properties was no mere legal formality. It was a surgical dissection into the heart of the darkest secrets the British royal family had long tried to bury. Prince Andrew, long synonymous with explosive scandals and murky ties to Jeffrey Epstein, now stood at the center of a fresh web of wrongdoing. As investigators carted away stacks of electronic devices, encrypted hard drives brimming with data, and dust-covered correspondence files, unease settled over every office in the palace. Everyone understood that behind those numbers and names in his contacts lay an entire ecosystem of the ultra-wealthy, where power and depravity often mingled on superyachts adrift in international waters. While authorities peeled back layer after layer of data, another kind of search exploded across the internet at the speed of light. Live forums, private Reddit threads, and closed groups on X began dissecting the tiniest details of everyone who had ever orbited Prince Andrew's social circle. Royal obsessives, those with a keen nose for cracks in the facade, started stringing together events from years past. They recalled lavish parties on the Mediterranean, clandestine galas, and Caribbean villas, places where the line between celebrity and servitude blurred into nothing. Amid that torrent of chaotic speculation, one name broke the surface and stunned even the most jaded insiders: Meghan Markle. The woman who had appended the royal order with her seismic departure in 2020 was now being dragged into Andrew's vortex in a way no one had anticipated. Before she became a royal bride, before humanitarian activism or stardom on Suits, Meghan had spent years clawing her way into North American entertainment and high society. Now that the past was suddenly thrust under a lens of suspicion, crowd psychology turned merciless. It demanded no proof, only suggestion. Posts flooded in with provocative questions. Netizens dug through timelines. Who had Meghan met? Where had she gone? What had she done during those glittering summers aboard luxury yachts? Was there any overlap between the ambitious world of a young actress and Andrew's tangled web of connections? A quiet dread crept into every corner of the Montecito mansion where Meghan now lived. She knew that despite the thousands of miles separating her from London, the royal shadow remained, an invisible noose that could tighten at any moment. Andrew's property search was not just the downfall of a disgraced uncle. It was the opening shot in a hunt through memory. Every file recovered from his computers could be a time-delayed bomb buried at her feet. On the forums, public curiosity hardened into obsession. One post alone racked up millions of interactions within hours, posing a question laced with venom. Could Meghan's past relationships be sitting in those seized documents? It landed like a match in a leaking fuel tank. The implication went beyond mere physical presence in address books. It hinted at something far more chilling, that Meghan might have been part of the very yacht network in which Andrew had once been a key link. Silence enveloped Archewell's sleek offices. In the dim glow of luxurious rooms, Meghan's every move grew more guarded, more calculated than ever. Meanwhile, in Britain, the files from Andrew's home continued streaming into analysis rooms, carrying secrets that could forever alter the face of the House of Windsor. Even as the first waves of the investigation into Andrew had yet to fade, the digital realm had already turned into a quagmire of forcibly exhumed memories. Social media algorithms, with their characteristic cruelty, began rewinding time to the early 2010s. Amid millions of image files, old photographs of Meghan Markle, then still a promising television actress in Hollywood, were suddenly pulled, sharpened, and spread at an uncontrollable pace. There were moments Meghan had probably once wanted locked away in distant memory albums. In those pictures, she wore none of the measured elegance of a duchess. Instead, she glowed with the bold, scorching beauty of a rising star carving out her place. People saw her at exclusive beach clubs in Saint-Tropez, or dazzling in form-fitting evening gowns at sunset dinners aboard luxury yachts anchored off the Mediterranean. Public eyes no longer lingered on her smile, they dissected every face sharing the frame. Questions arrived in volleys like poisoned arrows. How was a cable television actress, still struggling with bit parts, ending up on guest lists alongside oil billionaires and global tycoons? How did she gain entry to those VVIP zones reserved for the ultra-wealthy and the handful of individuals who steered multinational empires? Particular scrutiny fell on a series of shots taken aboard a superyacht whose layout bore an uncanny resemblance to vessels investigators had flagged in Prince Andrew's files. In one image, Meghan Markle leaned against the railing, a champagne flute catching the dying light, surrounded by powerful figures whose presence usually signaled closed-door deals. The stark contrast between that glittering past and the monarchy's current turmoil pressed down on her like a physical weight. In Montecito, Meghan's movements grew stiff under the assault of resurrected ghosts. Her fingers trembled as they scrolled across her phone screen, watching photographs she had once cherished now repurposed as circumstantial evidence in the court of public opinion. Each newly unearthed picture felt like another layer peeling away from the flawless persona she had so carefully constructed. The control she once demanded began to fracture. She pored over every detail in the frames, straining to remember who had taken the shots and whether worse moments still waited to surface. The anxiety went beyond personal reputation. Meghan knew that in elite circles, mere presence at an event often carried far heavier implications than a night of fun. These photographs formed an invisible tether, dragging her closer to Andrew's vortex of wrongdoing. Even if the two of them had never exchanged a single direct word, the public was already weaving a narrative of orchestrated ascent, one in which lavish yacht parties served as launch pads for strategic alliances. The harder she tried to stay composed, the more her unease leaked through. Checking social media became compulsive. Every notification sent her pulse racing. Images of her laughing in a bikini on deck, or being escorted by the security detail of a notorious magnate, now sat side by side with London police raid headlines. Her silence no longer carried the proud defiance of someone above the fray. It resembled the held breath of someone waiting for the storm to pass. Yet this storm showed no sign of weakening. On the contrary, it fed on the crowd's curiosity and malice, on the hunger to find a crack wide enough to topple the woman who had dared challenge an entire dynasty. The past aboard those opulent yachts was hardening into an iron cage of unanswered suspicion. At Kensington Palace, the already solemn atmosphere thickened into something almost suffocating. Prince William, forever bearing the heavy mantle of a future king, sat behind his ancient oak desk. His gaze was icy, locked on the swelling stack of media reports that grew thicker by the hour. William revered stability and the honor of the crown above all. To him, any stain on the monarchy felt like a personal insult. Andrew's affair had already been a brutal blow to the royal family. But Meghan Markle's name, now being dragged into the same vortex, acted as a catalyst, igniting the quiet fury that had simmered inside him for years. William didn't merely see photographs. He saw a systemic threat. His fingers drummed a steady, heavy rhythm on the desktop, each tap like the forming edge of a verdict. He understood with piercing clarity that the institution's survival depended on public trust. And Meghan's presence in those opulent, questionable settings from the past was a breach the monarchy's critics were already exploiting. In William's mind, Meghan had never truly belonged, and the ghosts of her history were now proving every dark premonition he had harbored since the beginning. Across the ocean, Meghan's usual confidence had evaporated, replaced by a state teetering on the edge of panic. A guilty conscience makes you jumpy, she thought, unable to stay still in her multimillion-dollar mansion. Every phone notification sent an involuntary shiver through her body. She paced the study relentlessly, footsteps quick and directionless. Her eyes, once bright with calculation, were now bloodshot from sleepless nights, darting as though paparazzi lenses were hiding within the walls themselves. The pressure began leaking out in small but extreme ways. She frantically scoured old contacts, people she had once viewed as stepping stones to success, now potential landmines. Cornered, she grew irritable and defensive. She feared not the truth itself, but the loss of control over her own narrative. Every resurfaced photograph stripped her bare before the world's judgment. An ambitious actress who had once exploited every crack in high society to climb higher, only for that ladder to begin rotting beneath her. The tension peaked when an official yet unmistakably cautionary message arrived from Prince William's office. No bombast was needed. The cold diplomatic phrasing alone carried the chill of a guillotine blade against her neck. William had not hesitated to invoke the stark lesson of Andrew. The royal family would excise any compromised limb to save the body. The veiled threat was unmistakable. If the investigation into Andrew's hard drives uncovered even a whisper of her involvement in darker networks, she would be cast out, ruthlessly and without hesitation. William wasn't issuing a reminder. He was delivering an ultimatum. In his heart, he had already prepared the most extreme contingencies to sever Meghan from any remaining ties to the crown should events spiral further. His words echoed through closed-door meetings with chilling authority. No one stands above the honor of the royal family. It was not empty rhetoric. It was a vow to history. William looked ahead with the resolve of a guardian, prepared to sacrifice even those once called family to protect the crown at all costs. A throne unsullied by secrets from lavish yachts and the bottomless ambition of a woman who had always remained a stranger. Outside, the world burned like a cauldron on fire. But inside the Montecito estate, an eerie, oppressive silence reigned. Meghan Markle had chosen total withdrawal from the public eye. No exclusive interviews, no philosophically charged press statements, no radiant appearances before the cameras. Yet this silence carried none of the calm poise of innocence. It resembled the held breath of someone hiding in the shadows as the footsteps of pursuers drew nearer. Meghan's mind had become a tangled storm of cold calculation and raw terror. She knew that any word uttered at this moment could become a self-inflicted trap. Her fingers, noticeably thinner, slid across the computer screen in the locked study. She devoured every comment on the forums, her eyes burning with resentment at the mocking nicknames the internet had invented for her: yacht bride, professional climber. The phrases stabbed at her pride. Yet they also sent chills down her spine as she realized how close the public had come to the hidden corners she once believed had been scrubbed clean. Her behavior grew strange and obsessive. She spent hours combing through old email backups from her acting days, scrutinizing every message exchanged with agents and long-ago friends from high society. Sometimes she would freeze at a name, her breathing turning ragged, her face draining of color, as she recognized a connection that could lead straight to Prince Andrew's address book. She deleted, then restored, then deleted again, an endless, futile loop born of a mind tormented by fear and extreme self-preservation. Paradoxically, her silence only inflamed public imagination to a fever pitch. Media pundits began dissecting her absence through the lens of criminal psychology. They argued that if she were truly innocent, Meghan would have issued fierce denials instead of allowing old photographs to be paraded and vilified. The quiet became a magnet for the wildest theories. People started sketching intricate relationship diagrams linking Mediterranean yacht parties to the files police had seized from Andrew. In the dimness of her room, Meghan stared out the window at the lush California trees swaying in the breeze, but all she saw were the dark silhouettes of her past closing in. She understood that silence was a double-edged blade. On one side, it shielded her from media missteps. On the other, it quietly reinforced public suspicion. Every day without explanation eroded the faith of her remaining supporters. More than anyone, Meghan knew she was standing on a minefield. One careless move could detonate the career and status she had sacrificed her youth to build. Isolation began to eat away at her. Even her closest circle felt the chill radiating from her presence. Meghan grew suspicious of everyone, wondering whether any member of her staff was secretly feeding information to the palace. Her silence was no longer merely a media strategy. It had become a solitary fortress, a place where she tried to shrink herself small enough to withstand the fiercest storm of her life. Inside the solid walls of the Montecito estate, the usual glamour gave way to an atmosphere so heavy it felt like a violin string pulled to the breaking point. The relationship between Prince Harry and Meghan, once celebrated as a defiant symbol of love against all odds, began cracking under the suffocating pressure of resurrected ghosts from the past. Their home no longer echoed with laughter. Only Meghan's hurried footsteps and Harry's labored breathing remained, as he confronted a reality he had never dared imagine. Meghan's state of mind shifted from anxiety to something far more aggressive. She was no longer the soft woman seeking shelter in her husband. She had turned cold, sharp, and deeply guarded. Every time she caught Harry staring at his phone with a brooding expression, a surge of tension shot through her. She no longer looked at him with empathy, but with suspicion. Was he wavering under whispers from London? Was he beginning to see her through the public's eyes, as a deceiver with a past stained beyond repair? Meghan's actions revealed a stark mix of selfishness and cold calculation. She pushed Prince Harry into impossible choices, wielding icy silence or sudden outbursts of rage to force his unconditional allegiance. She obsessively rearranged memories, deleting old photographs and demanding that Harry sever contact with anyone who might question her history. In her eyes, he had become both her last shield and the person most likely to betray her, should he ever choose the honor of his bloodline over the wife under siege. Harry, by contrast, sank into psychological paralysis. He sat for hours in the library, eyes vacant, staring into nothing. The absolute trust he had once placed in Meghan began to erode under details too concrete to ignore. He could not dismiss how seamlessly those old photographs aligned with the timelines in the Prince Andrew investigation. A sense of betrayal took root, not because Meghan had a past, but because she had cloaked it in an impossibly perfect veneer of virtue. He felt like a pawn in a game whose rules he had never been allowed to learn. Their arguments unfolded without words, through cutting glances and deliberate silences. Meghan tightened her control, monitoring his calls and emails, terrified that a single moment of weakness would push him back toward Prince William's unyielding stance. Her negativity spread like a virus, transforming their home into a psychological prison. She did not hesitate to weaponize emotional wounds, dredging up Harry's past to make him feel guilty for doubting her. This fracture was more than marital discord, it was the collapse of a shared reality. At night, they lay on opposite sides of the vast bed, separated by an abyss of unspoken truths. Meghan stared at the ceiling, fingers clenched in silk sheets, consumed by resentment, toward the world, and toward Harry's perceived weakness. She knew that if she lost her grip on him, she would lose everything. Meanwhile, Harry felt a painful clarity settling in. The paradise he had sacrificed a kingdom to claim was decaying from within, undermined by truths yet to be fully revealed. The final days of March settled over the world in an unnatural quiet. Not peace, but the suffocating stillness before a storm. In London, classified dossiers from the Prince Andrew investigation arrived at Kensington Palace in measured, almost ritualistic deliveries. Slim folders slipped through secure channels, placed silently on Prince William's oak desk by trusted aides who spoke in murmurs and left without acknowledgement. Inside the palace's private chambers, lined with heavy drapes, stern ancestral portraits, and the scent of aged leather, the only sound was the slow turning of pages. William sat motionless, fingers steepled beneath his chin. He moved with the patience of a seasoned hunter, waiting for the exact moment his target lowered its guard. As his eyes scanned encrypted data, redacted names, and fragments of recovered correspondence, his expression remained clinically detached, bordering on cold brutality. This was not impulsive anger. It was something far more dangerous, a deep, unyielding resolve forged through years of watching the monarchy endure humiliation. He had been entrusted with its survival, and he would allow no threat to remain unchecked. Across the Atlantic, in the sunlit hills of Montecito, Meghan Markle had entered a different kind of silence, one that was deliberate, corrosive, and weaponized. The tears had long since dried. The arguments with Harry had faded. What remained was a venom-laced quiet that followed her through every room. She moved like a spectre across wide oak floors, her footsteps nearly silent in a house that once symbolized triumph but now felt like a gilded cage. Most of her time was spent in a darkened room, blinds drawn against the California sun. The glow of a computer screen cast harsh blue light across her face, sharpening her features into something almost unrecognizable. She had begun a methodical campaign of erasure. Old journals were torn apart page by page. Invitations, handwritten notes, and messages from her past were fed into the fireplace, consumed by flames. She watched them burn with a mix of satisfaction and panic, as though destroying paper could erase memories stored in servers, hard drives, and human minds across continents. Yet the harder she tried to erase her past, the more visible her fear became. Every unfamiliar engine sound beyond the gates sent her retreating behind curtains, heart pounding, fingers digging into fabric. Paranoia became her constant companion. In her mind, Harry was no longer a partner, he was a liability. A man who knew too much, who might break under the quiet pressure of William's influence. The distance between them turned their home into a mausoleum of broken trust. Love had long since withered. What remained was a painful, unbreakable tether between two people standing on the edge of collapse. Back in Britain, William moved with quiet precision. He issued no public threats, made no dramatic declarations. Instead, he delivered coded instructions to a select circle of legal and security advisors. He required no spectacle, only control. His ruthlessness revealed itself not in words, but in preparation. Contingency plans, legal frameworks, silent protocols designed to sever every remaining tie to Meghan Markle the moment any connection emerged from Andrew's seized data. To William, this was not personal. It was necessary, an act of institutional survival. In his eyes, Meghan was a destabilizing force that had to be removed before further damage could spread. And so the situation remained frozen in a state of unbearable tension. The terabytes of data from Prince Andrew's properties continued to be analyzed, file by file, fragment by fragment. No final statement had been issued. No definitive evidence revealed. Yet this limbo itself became the harshest punishment for a woman who had built her life on controlling narrative, image, and perception. One evening, Meghan stepped onto a balcony overlooking the Pacific. The wind carried the salt of the sea. Below, the dark water moved endlessly, indifferent, eternal. It was the same ocean that had once hosted glittering yachts, whispered deals, and hidden truths. She stood motionless, arms wrapped tightly around herself, staring into the horizon as if searching for answers. One question loomed above everything. Could the past ever truly be buried? Or had it only retreated, waiting patiently for the perfect moment to return and demand its price?